Hi guys, it's Steve again. Now, this is take 3 actually because I keep messing it up. I'm on my iPhone, somebody will either ring me or the thing nearly fell out of the camera stand. Oh, I tell you what, the marvels of being a movie maker. Okay, the last video I showed you, I showed you the H&T Gordon & Co. A55 smoothing plane. Absolutely fantastic. Nice box. Anyway, on that same day when I bought that, well, I bought this second-hand, well, it looks like a steam train, but it's not a steam train. It's a machine which is kind of unique. I never thought that, no, I never knew they existed, to be perfectly honest, whilst I was always envious, and that is Perfect Mitres. Now, I've got a Capex saw with all the blades known to man. I've got an Incra power sliding, jobby that does all this sort of stuff. But you got little bits of triangles flicking off and all that sort of stuff near your blade. Nah. But I defy when I ever make some kind of thing with a frame, I never get the thing right with 100%. There's always something like a little bit on the shoulder or a little bit on the point that it's not just quite right, doesn't kind of meet up. Or maybe your cut's not 100% 90 degrees and you sort of, it's tight on the bottom but open at the top, and I'm sure we can all sort of relate to that. Unless the talented ones out there can't relate to that at all because they get Perfect Mitres. But maybe they've got one of these. And it's basic, I think Marie Antoinette lost her head in one, and it's, as the French would call it, it is a guillotine. It is not to put your willy or your fingers in because it'll take them right off. So I'm going to try and take the camera off the stand. Hopefully it won't drop this time. And then I'll show you around it. Now, maybe you guys even know about this thing. I didn't, so I'm just sharing it. I reckon there's probably a few guys out there that probably don't know that exists either. And maybe they think, great, yeah, that's the sort of thing that I could do with. So I thought I'd show you guys. I think you can get it from, there's a few people you can get it from. I think, your normal places like, Axminster for the overseas people, or Carbotech, or this one's actually a Leadercraft one. But I think it's been around for so long, probably longer than I have, obviously, because I've never heard of it before. But I was always envious of how picture framers could get such a perfect thing with their picture frames. And I always thought that, in fact, I never even thought about how they actually did it. And I thought, wow, it's pretty soft wood, that'd be pretty easy. They'd probably kind of cut it with some sort of thingy. But this thing does hardwood. It actually, in fact, does hardwood better than softwood, I think. Because the softwood tends to, well, not tear, but it's softer, so the grains kind of get pulled around, but it just slices through hardwood, which is probably the best thing ever. Anyway, rather than go on, I'll see if I can get the camera off the stand. Yes. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. Hey, here it is. Now here it is here, look. See, it's like a guillotine. Look at this. Slice. Look at that. It slices one side, and it slices the other side. Now you've got to be really, really careful because this thing is like razor sharp. I mean, I'm talking razor sharp. No wonder heads got come off from the French people when they had their heads cut off for saying that let the people eat cake. So it comes with a little lockdown, little fence. The lockdown fence here does 90 degrees or does 45 degrees, and it locks in, and you just lock it down with a little pin down here. So that's apparently locked in it. Now there's a little camber little thing here that you can double check or recheck or whatever is like, and same here's a little camber bolt here so that you can always check that it's absolutely perfectly 90 degrees. Probably using one of your engineer squares or something. Now, because I can't get around the bench real easy, I'm going to sneak around the other side, walking past the bench, round here, and there's a camera stand. Get the camera stand out of the way. And this little arm, that just Look, see, bloody basic, it's simple as hell. But it's cast metal, cast steel, and see when you cut it, it's the shearing action, which is fantastic. It just shears it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a bit of demonstration. So we'll go back to the other side again. Okay, go back to the other side. There comes our friendly rubbish truck removing all our rubbish. Aren't they wonderful, those guys? Rightio, now I'm going to try and set this back up in the camera stand again and see if we can get a bit of a result here. So bear with me while I do some fancy camera work. Now I've got to be careful with this silly phone that I don't touch the certain controls, because if I do, now I've got it locked down, so I've kind of got to push a few things off this bench. Sorry for all my messing around like usual. Okay, so we're going to pull that down here, and I think that's kind of going to shape it. I think maybe I might be better off on the other side, so you can actually see where it cuts it off. So we get the camera down a bit. There we go. This is not instant camera work, I can tell you. Okay, now maybe it's kind of going to get round to down there. Now blow it up a little bit, see if we can get it going a little bit better there. Right, that might be kind of good enough. Okay, right. Now, for instance, I did this on it. Look at that. It's awesome. And it's smooth. And it's just pine. So what I'll do, I'll see if I can, so what you do is just push it in here, and you can see where, you can see down the bottom here where, whoops, I can see if I can get down a little bit lower. Okay, you can see where this edge is. That's the sort of that's the slicing edge, because this blade runs right up against it, this blade here. Now, whew, that's sharp, that blade. Okay, so it's just a matter of holding it in nice and firm and slicing off a little bit, and slicing off a bit. Now that was probably a bit too much, but needless to say, it did it. And then if you take a big chunk like that, then you just do a little slither, and I'll do a little further little slither. This is a little one. Oh yeah, that's it. And you can see it's just cut that on to 45. How cool is that? And then if you put it down flat like this, you can again cut off a little bit, push it up a little bit more, a little bit there, a little bit more there, and we'll take off this fine little bit of a slice, and oopsie. Oh yeah, you hear that one then, slice right through. So you can see that's kind of cut that off. Look at that. It's fantastic. Okay, now that's pine. And actually pine does get, you can sort of see a slight bit of tear out there because of the thing. But now I'm going to show you it using hardwood. And this is some of the squiggly messmate. This is what I cut basically. So they suggest that you cut your mitres on your saw as regular. Then to trim it up to making it 100% square and accurate is you push it into your machine and just ever take an ever so slice off it. Now, I don't know if you can see it. See how shiny it is? See, now that's hardwood. Now that's like a beautiful slice. Now that's 100% 45 degrees and 100% 90 degrees. So so that's one piece. So I'm going to get the other piece. I cut 2 bits on the miter saw. So here's another piece. And I'm now going to slice a little bit off that. And it's only a little bit. I mean, talking about 1 millimetre. And it's perfect if you've got like little high spots or something like that. Now, let's see if I can put it together on I might lift the camera up on this occasion. So you can see if I lift the camera up, drop the zooming back a bit, and let's have a look. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but that's, whoopsie, that, it's perfect. Well, you know, it's perfect. It's perfect on this side. It's I'm holding it up in the air, so it's a bit sort of difficult to kind of show you properly. But you know, that's perfect mitre. That's so. But also too, as I showed you, and I'll calm back down again here. If I undo this little lock pin and I swing the fence round to 90 degrees, so you've got a little bit of a crappy end on the end there, and you just want to clean that end up a little bit. Okay, and the same thing, you just push it down, and look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that, beautiful. Looking, you can sort of see the shine on it. But you know, it's, look, there's no chip out, and it's just perfect. It feels so smooth. I'm most impressed. But it does something pretty big too. Look, here's a bit. Now I'll get a measuring tape. Where have I got a measuring tape hanging around? Probably don't have one. Coming on the other side of the bench here, looking for a measuring tape. Oh, the hole, here's a Festool one. And I'm back again. Now, this is roughly 90 by 25. It's a fairly softish wood. It's a Tasmanian timber. Now, if I push it into the machine here, and I just get a nice about a millimetre. Now, oh yeah, that's it. Got a bit of strength to it. So that's cleaned that right off now. So that's again lovely and 100% square. Now it's probably a little bit too high to be able to chamfer it that way, but I have seen you can get a jig if you have like a little 45-degree jig, and you can slip it down and you can sort of slice it using it like this. Now I'm going to probably do a little bit of a silly thing here and push it up like that. And let's have a look what happens. Look at that, look at that. Now I've just held it up in the air, and I've just done this random chamfer. Now how cool is that? I mean, I think that is so good. So now here's a bit of hardwood. Here's a bit of Aussie Vic Ash hard. Well, no, this is actually, no, this is spotted gum. This is spotted gum. So this is a very, as you can hear, very hard wood. Now you reckon something like that would be pretty hard to do, but if I just now again take about a slither, about a millimetre, is kind of good. Now, I've not done that with this one before, so bear with me. Now that was probably pushing it a bit much, so I might have to do a little bit of left to shave and try the other end. Yeah. You got to take off less at a time and not be so crazy, because really all you want to do is square it up. There we go. Look at that. Oh yeah, you can hear it just slice through. Now again, it's got a beautiful edge to it. Look at that. You can sort of see it. You can sort of show a shine in it. Perfectly square. Where's my little square? Okay, here's my engineer square. Look, perfect this way, perfect that way, and perfect that way. Look, I'll try that again. Perfect that way. So that's 100% square. So, and look at the great little, look, these are the end grain curly thingies. Aren't they cool? I mean, it just shows you now, there was one where I took it off where it's a bit too thick. Well, I'm pushing it a little bit, and mind you, I only got it yesterday, so I'm jumping the gun a little bit. But I think it's a ripper, but you've got to be really careful. Like I say, you don't whack your willy in there, otherwise you'll be willyless. I'll probably end up calling you a girl. Now, let me see here. We'll pull this back up. So what do you think about that? I reckon it's pretty cool. Look at that. That's just, I'm really looking forward to doing some work. Now, apparently, you can, and I'll pull this here, there, and I'll swing that around here. So I did see a setup where they had, what's best way to describe it. Okay, I'll walk around the workshop. Look, you can see things in my workshop. Look, messy as. Look, doing things over here. Look, here's the spot for my new sander when it's going to come. So I come round to where I keep my little squares under here, trying to find a spot for anything. Too many tools, not enough spots. So what they had a little setup that this locked in, like this locked in here, like so that when you, of course I'm going to do this really quite clumsily, so when you slid your timber down, that sat on it, but it was wider, so which means it was like a cradle. You could easily make your own, I would reckon. I can't see where you'd have to buy one. But also too, there is another method where they had they've got a cradle which holds out here for longer pieces of work, and sort of out here, or sort of out here, and then you put a little stop on the end so you can slice them all exactly the same size. Needs a bit of a clean up, but that's all right. I'll give that a bit of a clean up. This one's from Leader Craft, but a few people sell them, I believe. I think I paid $3.25 because it was second hand. The guy that had it previously, I believe he has moved on to the dark side and to CNC routers, and he's now doing things with CNCs, which is fair enough. I understand. And probably to be perfectly honest, if I had the room, I might have a CNC myself, just to do things that you can't do with a traditional method. Although I do prefer methods, and I really don't care if I got one or not. If I don't get one, look, I've got a 3D printer I bought from Audi, sitting in a box, and even bought extra spools. But you had to learn the program to do the 3D work, and I'm very good at SketchUp. But when it comes to other 3D programs, I realise how good SketchUp actually is. Well, look, no, they're different. One's a product 3D program. Anyway, I've gone off the subject, which I always tend to do, as you always know. But I've got one little thing here. I'll just show you while I just happened to glance across at it. Have a look at now what you can get in aluminium. They actually powder coat timber grain. This is like a blackwood timber grain. Now, here's some real timber grain, and here's an aluminium. So this is actually a siding or a facing for external buildings. They've actually got a profile which I'm going to use on a building, because the trouble is, real timbers on an external, they fade in the Australian sun, as you'd probably be aware if you're Australian. Stuff fades like crazy, and there's no oil known to man that'll not fade out in the blazing sun. So I'm going to give that. I'm going to try and put that onto the venue. But look, I sort of think, look, I've got some great mitres on my other one, so I'm not complaining about the mitres. But I thought for $320, it's basic. I can't ever see how it's going to break down. Like I say, it's built like a steam engine. I reckon you could make parts for it if you wanted to, if you had a water jet cutter. Now, water jet cutter. Now that's another story again. Now, wouldn't they be cool? So yeah, I think it's a great little machine. Basic. It's kind of like a couple of basic things. I've got another thing, a tenon thing, which I run through my saw. That's basic. So I guess there's basic things out there, but I'm going to take the blades off, and maybe, I know they're sharp, but I don't know how how the previous guy sort of looked after them. So I might get better results by honing them even nicer, because the blades do come off. They can just unscrew at the back here, and you can sharpen them up. Okay, so there's a bit of a different one today. It's a bit of a non-powered job. You've got to provide the power. But the good thing is, it actually has, I just showed you me cutting on one side, but of course you can cut on both sides. So, you know, you cut your mitre, you cut your mitre this side, and you can cut your mitre that side. So you don't have to, like, you know, when you're doing with your Capex saw, you've got your mitre one side, you cut it, then you've got to turn it around and cut it the other way, because you don't want chip out or anything like this. Well, this thing, you can sort of slice it this side and then slice it that side. It's already set up for doing two. And I guess to the picture frame people, so I might start making picture frames. I don't think so. But yeah, well, it has its, get some old recycled timber, do some nice things, some staining and all that. Sometimes some great little picture frames made out of interesting hardwood timbers might be quite cool, to do. Something else there for when I retire, when I get to be an old person. Yeah, well, I'm not quite old enough. All right, well, thanks, guys, again. Thanks for all your interest and your nice comments. It's good to hear, and yeah, as you know, I just do this for fun, and I've got a few other little tricks that I'm going to show you, but I take them one at a time, and I'll leave you with this. If I thought I had enough clamps, I bought some more. These Bessies, these are bloody beauty. I really like this. I've got all Bessie clamps. I'll flick that over here. And I'll flick that around there. See now, here's my kind of bit of a collection hidden away down here because I don't have enough room. Look, I've got clamp things around there. I've got Bessie clamps here. Got little Bessie clamps up there. I've got clamps hanging off pipes here. Look, I've got Craig clamps there. And those little ones up there, I don't use them as much as I should. These ones, they look like smiling sort of dragons or something to me. I've got them, look, gee, I've even got these corner ones up here. And then I come around here and we go past the collection, and look, I got more there. They're little baby ones, they're the little tackers, but they're great, they're kind of, I use them a real lot. Then I got some more clamps up there, some of these big long Craigie kind of things. Oh, and then I got oh, that's right, I forgot I got a couple of clamps here, which is where my rails are. And look, these are big Kahuna. These are the big Kahuna Bessie clamps. Man, they weigh a ton, but they've got a deep throat on them, which is kind of good because you can get right into the centre of things. So I bought another box of them. I always buy them in series of 4. So there's 8 there, and I think I've got 8 of them over there. So I've got 16 of them. But now you might sort of say, well, all those clamps. But there's many times when I'm clamping up a lot of stuff, I'm running short of clamps. Can you believe it? How guys get by with 2 clamps is beyond me. All right, guys, well, there was a little bit of a show around the workshop today. I really am deviating from this Festool talk stuff because there's nothing new from Festool that I can show you that you probably don't even know about or haven't seen or whatever. I guess. I don't know. I'm just so used to having them around me, I don't even sort of think about it anymore. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, which might not be too far away. See ya.